What's up, SellerAmp Nation? The video you're about to watch is the most detailed, comprehensive beginner's guide to SellerAmp ever posted anywhere on the internet, where myself, Flips Miles, and Al Carlton, the founder of SellerAmp, break down everything you need to know about SellerAmp step by step. I promise there's some features you haven't seen before, so make sure to watch this entire video. And if you haven't yet gotten a 2-week free trial of SellerAmp, you can do so down below at the link in the description. Let's dig right in. Your settings, right? Now, you guys know, anyone who's already had their one-on-one, literally the first thing I do with you, right, is we check to make sure all your settings check out. I trust anyone who's either watched the SellerAmp tutorial or, has had our one-on-one, you guys have that situated. One thing a lot of people miss, though, is having these 5 guys automatically select, or not automatically selected, but these 5 guys selected, especially the offer summary. That's a really good one that you do need to activate in your settings. Which is pretty nice. So definitely make sure to go out and do that. But if you've had a one-on-one already, you know to pop that in right there. Now, these display panels. So this is something a lot of people don't know about, is going to be the display panels that you can actually edit what your SellerAmp looks like, right? So Al, I can literally go in here and move these guys around if I so desire, right? And then it's going to, like, I'll show this in real time here. So like if I go like that, right, and then refresh it, I can go over here and now it's gonna basically rearrange my Chrome extension to my liking, which obviously looks funky in this capacity, but you can choose to put the data you value the most at the top of your extension. So like, honestly, I should go in and move the charts up, to be honest, here in SaaS panels, right? So quick info and then charts right there, boom. And then now I can refresh this and now I can see the chart right below it here, boom, which makes it a little bit more convenient right there and everything. And then Al, is buy box analysis automatically selected, or do folks need to manually pop that in right now?
Good question. It's so long ago since I had a new account. It probably needs turning on, but that is
Okay.
something I want to have a look at to see which one of these we turn on by default.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like I'd always recommend having a buy box analysis switched on if it isn't switched on by default.
Yep. Yeah. And so what that feature is, guys, so we're obviously going to dig into the whole thing, but check that link in the chat and you can pull ahead and go and you just hit general SaaS panels. And then you want to have the buy box analysis selected. This is basically a better version of the Keepa buy box statistics, but it's laid out nicer, right? I'm pretty sure it's something you have to manually turn on. So definitely go ahead and do that, right? And everything. Now, kind of from the top, right? So the Chrome extension, which is what we're mostly using it for, right? At least with this group. And then we got the mobile app for retail arbitrage, and then we got the web app here. Now, in terms of this data here at the top of the quick info, right? Pretty self-explanatory. What you do really need to keep in mind is the weight that you can view right here. It's really helpful to view the weight of a product, so that you know what to plug in for merchant fulfilled shipping, right? Which is going to be down, which is going to be down here, right? If we need to plug that in, right? FBM cost, right there.
Actually, one thing you can do, if you just scroll up to the top there,
Yep.
you see you've got the buttons underneath the SellerAmp stats. You've got your buttons. If you tap on your profit calculator, it'll take you straight to it.
You see, that is exactly why we wanted to have the man on here. That is so much more efficient than the way I've always been doing it. And this is why this stuff's important. So if you want to calculate FBM profit faster, you just, boom, pop that guy, you hop down to it. And I realized I've been teaching this wrong for almost 4 years. And that's exactly what we wanted to do tonight, right there. So that's perfect, right? Not wrong, just different, right? So we can jump right down there, boom, profit calculator. And then that holds true for all these buttons, right, as well, too.
Yeah.
Like we can go down to chart right there and everything. Okay, that's real cool. Okay. So that's one thing right there. So we can zoom to those. And then description, not super helpful. You can open the Amazon product page. In this case, we're already on an Amazon product page. And then we can go ahead. I'm just gonna hit the mute all real quick. So Al, you'll have to unmute right there real quick. And then we can Google it, right? So this is when you're looking something up. You guys have obviously seen that. And then search for product title on Walmart if you want to. This could actually be really helpful for sourcing Walmart private label brands. Actually, interestingly enough, actually for Amazon arbitrage, and then we can open up the web app here too, which is like basically a bigger version. We'll talk on that later though. But yeah, the shortcut's cool. So y'all definitely got to start using the shortcuts. Now, A couple important things on the actual quick info panel. So a really, really important thing to keep in mind, guys, is that the estimated sales, let's see, I actually do like it. I gotta get the quick info at the top there, yeah. So the estimated sales, guys, when there is an exclamation point, it is shared across all the variations, right? But when there isn't an exclamation point, it is just for this specific ASIN. So each color and size has its own unique ASIN and its own unique data. So when you see exclamation points next to an estimated sales, it's very important to understand that that's not for this specific variation. But when there isn't an exclamation point, it is. And the ones that don't have the estimated sales tend to be the ones that don't have the exclamation point tend to be quicker moving, right? Um, and everything. So that's something that is very important to keep in mind. No exclamation point, variation specific, just that size or color, or just that listing, right? And then exclamation point shared across all variations.
So what
And
we've tried to do is like
yep,
when there's an exclamation point on something, there's going to be a hint there telling you why it's there. And like
yep,
in the case of estimated sales, it's all to do with what data Amazon shares. Like for fast moving variations, we can get more
yep.
more sort of narrowed down sales for each variation. If it's slow moving, then we can't. So if you see an exclamation point, it's just to make you aware of it.
Yeah, 100% right there. And then something to keep in mind too, here where it says alerts, if it says private label, there's actually a really good SellerAmp feature. It automatically says suspected private label if it's under 3 sellers consistently or under 2.
I can't remember what the number
Okay,
is
yeah,
offhand,
but
but
very low competition. Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's 3. So what you need to keep in mind is when it says private label, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's private label. It just means that there's signs that it could be. And then what we need to do is see, okay, is the brand dominating this listing? Which we can see in this case, this is not Gap. It's a random third-party seller, right? So you got to keep in mind that when it says private label, that doesn't automatically mean you should avoid it. It means you got to dig a little bit in deeper and see if the brand is dominating it or not, right?
So another one here is like, as you can see with that one, it's amber. So basically, when something's amber, it means we want to make you alert of this. It might not be a problem. We think you should be aware of it. Like when something's green, all is good. And like if something's red, like it could be like you're not eligible to tell it or something like that. Like red is, yeah, that's a major issue. So amber is just making you aware of it. It says this needs a bit more attention. Green good, red bad. And like when it's blue, like an estimated sales, that's just information. So
Yep.
we try and be consistent with colouring throughout. And one of our members of staff is colourblind, which is why we've got hints on everything as well. So we're not reliant on colour. But if you're blessed to be able to see colour, it's a quick and easy way of being able to tell the difference.
Yep. And so we can see then we go to best sellers rank. You guys are all familiar with that, right? Under 200K for the most part. But very important to note, guys. Sometimes you'll see like in 100K rank that will show red because it's in like the grocery category, which is a significantly smaller category, right? So my personal recommendation is focus on the overall BSR for the most part rather than the percentage. Although it is helpful to have that data because sometimes stuff in like shoes and clothing will be like a 400,000 rank but be quick selling because shoes and clothing is such a ginormous category. Meanwhile, grocery is a much smaller category. So in 100,000 rank in grocery might be 2% sales rank, but a $500,000 rank in shoes and clothing might be still 1%. But you want to focus on the overall BSR for the most part.
If you
Uh,
just go back to the web app miles,
yes. Yep. Yep.
so in the web app, if you go to the help menu at the top, actually, on top of the web app, help menu, top right.
Yes. Okay. Yep. 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 All right. Where at here?
No, no, keep scroll down. The
Oh, okay.
help
Oh,
menu.
yes, yes. Okay. Yep, yep.
Oh, scroll to the top of the page.
Yep, yep.
Right, where it says help next to my account.
Oh, help. Yes, my bad, my
Yeah.
bad. Yes,
Now
yes, yep.
you've got the sales rank tables there. If you click on the sales rank
Ah, okay. Yep,
tables,
yep. Hey, yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir. Okay.
so
Yep.
that's showing you like the number of products on each of the categories, and then it shows you how many products there are in like the top 0.5% BSR, top 1%, top 2%, etc. And like we update this every 24 hours. So I, I think the books huge is a
Yeah.
huge category. Clothing,
Yep.
I think, is the biggest one. And the clothing's so big because of all the different variations in
Variation.
there. See, Home and Kitchen's even bigger. That just catches so much stuff.
There's nothing in
Actually,
automotive. There's two automotive categories.
uh, yeah, Amazon sometimes mess around and add
Yeah,
extra
sure.
categories in or
Yeah.
duplicate categories. But
Yep.
yeah,
Cool, cool. All right. Sweet. So that makes sense. So yeah, that's going to be in help right there. Right. Pretty cool. And then as well too. So keeping going with that, guys, right? Max cost is basically the maximum cost you need to do to fit your criteria. Now, where this becomes a little tricky is sometimes like most people standard have $3 profit minimum for their criteria. And I agree with that. But on items under $10, making $2 is fine if you spend $1.50 on that item. So you do need to keep in mind that sometimes you'll see a negative max cost in really cheap products like Crayola crayons, for example. When if you sell something for 7, but you pay 1, like this is a heavy item, so it doesn't matter. But if this was like a crayon, this would actually make sense despite the max cost being negative. It would be like negative like 25 cents. And the reasoning is when something sells for $7 on Amazon, it's mathematically impossible to make $3 per unit, or there's some cutoff right there. But is spending $1.25 to make $2 profit worth it? Yeah, you over double your money. So you got to keep in mind that there's nuance on this data here and everything. On that, which is cool, right? Now, one of my favorite features that not enough people use, and I actually use every day, literally every day, probably 20 times a day, is going to be doing the math within SellerAmp, right? So within the cost here, which is going to be taking off coupons like that, right? Or adding in sales tax if you currently don't have it in your settings. Boom, right? Or if it's say it's a coupon that is $20 off 100, right? And I'm thinking, okay, if it's here on Dick's Sporting Goods, right? And I can get $20 off 100 because it's $20, not 20%. I want to make sure that I'm putting my cart value just barely above 100 because I want to maximize it because it's not percent, right? So say I want to get this card value above 100 and it's a $20 product. I'm going to do, or it's a $22 product. I'm going to do, 5 units, multiplication, and then I'm going to take off that 20% coupon, bang, and then I'm going to divide it by 5 to find my per unit cost. Bang. So all I'm doing there, guys, is I'm doing that, and then I can enter in, boom, and then oops, and then it pops it out here, bang. Or say there's a 10% coupon, I can just hit minus 10%, enter, boom. And that is a phenomenally helpful feature that you'll use literally every day, right? Because I always talk about how you guys hear me say it all the time. You don't find items good, you make items good. And making sure that you're calculating this stuff correctly is incredibly, incredibly important, right?
you
So
actually,
that is
you actually
very, very
taught me
helpful.
something. Yeah, you actually taught me something there. I didn't know
Okay.
you could do. I didn't know you could do -10%.
Oh, okay.
I'd have done times 0.9. I didn't know
Oh,
you could
which
do
is what
that.
I used to do. Yes, yes, which is what I
uh,
used to do. Yes, yes. And everything. So yeah, that's a really, really helpful feature, guys, because with OA, right, most of the money with stuff is in, when you Google something using SellerAmp, it's in if this is break even pre-coupon codes, you're probably going to be good, right? If it's break even pre-coupon codes. So like take a look at this here. If we plug in that 36 cost, we're just about breaking even, right? We're just about breaking even. But if I go in here, check this out. We don't find items good, we make items good, right? So now if I if I go down here on the Gap website, I can go ahead and take off 20% from this. It's typically on. I don't think it's on today, but typically there's a 20% email sign up coupon where I can go ahead and take off 20% from this. Boom. And then I can go on cardbear.com and buy discounted gift cards as well. And it's really easy to use this stuff once you get comfortable with it. And now I can get another 19% off with discounted gift cards. And we take off 19%. You don't find items good, you make items good. So if it's break even pre discounts, you're probably going to be able to find something from that retailer to create the margin, right? And that's that. Profit is what you make after shipping and fees, profit margin, ROI. The reason these are different and typically ROI is higher than margin is because profit margin is based on what you sell an item for. ROI is based on what you bought it for, right? And there's, different Amazon fees and stuff. The cool thing is SellerAmp obviously calculates all that for you, right? Including, the shipping to FBA, right? Which is pretty cool on that. I miss anything on quick info out? Are we good to go?
No, I don't.
Offer summary here. I
Like,
did forget to mention that. Very helpful. It's one of those settings you got to put on there. Offer summary.
yeah, I think one thing I'd say is like the max cost is probably my favorite statistic, just because it's like the fastest way of seeing if a deal is going to meet your criteria. And like, so just like showing like the max, when we really first sort of created this, like the max cost of an entire panel to itself, it was that important, but really you didn't need a full panel because it's just one little number. But like the importance of that number when you're actually sourcing, it just can save so much time.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And then the offer summary, guys, is really helpful for seeing if you can FBM something. If it's all FBA people, you probably can't get buy box FBM. But if there's some FBM sellers like this, we can see it's like, okay, you're going to be able to FBM this, right? You're going to be able to FBM this guy. So yeah, cool stuff there. So quick infos, a ton of really, really good data. Next up, we have the charts right here.
There's a
Yep.
second. There's a red line on my screen.
Yeah,
So I think,
sometimes Zoom doesn't deactivate the draw. I don't, it wasn't me, but I don't know
yeah,
why they do that. Yeah. And then so charts right here, guys. So this is going to be basically like a mini version of a Keep a chart, right? And the big things you're looking for is going to be offer count movement. So the purple line on the bottom one, because you'll be looking at this in real time when you're scanning for retail arbitrage, right? And then you want to make sure the top that the pink line, the buy box, is either stable or going up. So, fantastic example of really good data is this one where the offer count is jumping up and down like nuts, which shows that people are really, really selling out and restocking, that this is a healthy market, right? And then the top chart, the pink line, the buy box price is really steady and it's not tanking down. You don't want stuff where the buy box is tanking down, and you don't want stuff where the competition's going up. So very important there, guys. You can see the 1 day, the week long, the month long, the 3 months. Primarily, you want to do the 3 months. The year data is really helpful too, especially when you're talking about seasonal items. So Valentine's Day stuff right now in January, and Easter stuff in March, and Halloween stuff in September, when customers are buying something like nuts. Halloween stuff doesn't sell well during August or March, but it sells incredibly well during September and then even better in October. So it helps to be able to look back on past data and looking back, a year, or I'll pull up a Valentine's Day item here. You can even see multiple years. You can see every year how something's done. So if we go down here and hit the all time, you can see every Valentine's Day, this pops off. See how the sales rank plummets every February, right? And it's because everyone's buying these because they're a Valentine's Day themed product during January and February, which is pretty cool. And you can see the monthly sales spikes up. Obviously, this year is best, so this is ranking really well. So the chart data is pretty helpful. Now ranks and prices here. This isn't something I look at super often, but I think some people do, and this basically just shows like a glance and a different way to look at the same data that you've already seen on the chart, and everything. And yeah, basically you can refresh the data here. You can see it over time and see the averages here and all that. So this can be really helpful if you want to see like making sure you've consistently made money on something in respect to the average pricing and everything. I think that's pretty helpful stuff right there down here, ranks and prices. Now alerts, this is super important. So you see you see the alerts on the quick info up here, but this is also where you see it more laid out. So like if Amazon's been in the buy box, if it is suspected private label, if it's suspected IP complaints, right? If it's a meltable item, right? And then also variations here too, as well. So this item has variations, right? And we can see here, right? So it has variation, so we can see that there's other sizes and colors. And what you got to keep in mind, guys, is that there is a unique chart for every variation, and there's a unique buy box price and therefore max cost for every variation. Because size triple XL is going to be less common, but probably sell for more money than size medium and so on. And not in every case, but if we change to a different size, all the SellerAmp data is going to update right here, and then I can go ahead and take a look and everything. So we can see, boom, it updated, and then the chart's different here. We can see this one actually is price tanking. The competition's jumping up, price is jumping down. So this is the type of stuff I want to avoid, unfortunately here, right? So that's the name of the game. So anything I missed
Can I ask you a
on?
question?
Yeah. What's up, Jesus?
Yeah, I have some team members, and I wanted to have different user profiles for different team members. So I upgraded to a version that gave me 5 profiles. But honestly, I don't really understand how these profiles work or what they do. It seems to, yeah, I don't know how to use it really. And will you have actual multi-user option soon?
Yep. If you speak to me at the end of the call, I will add you on the beta list. That is one of the features that we have got in test at the moment, where you can have like multiple logins on your same subscription. So we will be adding a third tier, which is like going pro. So I'm getting serious at the moment where you get multiple profiles. On going pro, one of the first features in the pro package is multi-user. And that'll do exactly what you want it to do. Your different VAs can log in with their own email address, and you're able to see what everybody else is doing.
Hey Zeus,
But
did you meet Al at Sellers United?
Um, Maybe. I think
Oh, next
I
year
asked
you'll
a
have to,
question
man.
and
Yeah. You gotta come by the
yeah,
booth next year, man, because I know yeah, me and
yeah.
you were there. It was
I
great to
think I
connect
did
in
stop
person.
by and they said it was in progress, but
Cool,
yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
yeah, it's in final. It's in public test now. We've invited a few users to start testing it. It will be getting released fully probably next month. But if I can get you on the beta program straight away, you'll get it free for 6 months. The actual updated version. So let me know the email address, and yeah, we'll get you added to that. I literally added people today to start testing it. And once that testing's finished, then we will release it to everybody as a sort of third subscription to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sweet, cool. So, dude, thank you for that, Jesus, and then keep dropping questions in the chat too as well, guys, because we'll do a Q&A at the end. Now down here, the profit calculator. So this is very important, y'all. So you can jump to it from the quick info like that. Now here's where you can see a detailed breakdown of the max cost, the total fees, the profit. Where you'll typically use this part of the profit calculator, guys, just from my experience, is exclusively when you're filtering for FBM. No, I mean not exclusively, but most of the case when you're checking the profit on an FBM item. And a really, really important thing is a lot of people forget to plug in the FBM cost right here, and then they incorrectly calculate it. So how you calculate FBM cost here, guys, is if you go to howtofbm.com and you can just see a basic estimate based on weight, what you plug in here. So if you're taking notes, it's really important to write down that items that are above 20 bucks, but below 1 pound tend to be better FBM compared to FBA. Yeah, Mitchell knows, man, right? The clothing items, right? They tend to be better FBM compared to FBA. So when they're above 20 bucks, but below 1 pound, you typically get some extra margin. I'm gonna blow your guys' minds right now. Check this out. So if I go to this item right here, oops, not that item, actually this item here, these hats, go Sooners. I don't know if anyone from Oklahoma is on tonight, but watch this. So the default that shows here in the quick info is the FBA numbers, right? But if we go down here, I'm actually doing it the right way now, bang, and I go down here and I hit fulfillment type FBA and switch it to FBM, and then I look up at the weight, right? 4 ounces, so it's going to ship for like 450 or so. Watch this. So the FBA profit is $1 and 11% ROI, but the FBM profit is, look at that. FBM, it's good. FBA, it's not. There's hidden money in knowing how to use this stuff correctly, right? And everything. So if you want a good rule of thumb, items below 20 bucks are almost always better FBA, and almost nothing that's below 15 bucks is better FBM. So under 20 bucks, you're basically always going to FBA outside of rare circumstances, right? Items above 1 pound, you're almost always going to FBA, right? Based on numbers. Where there's some extra money with the FBM is when it's below 1 pound, but above 15 or 20 bucks. And this is a perfect example of an example of that, right? So it's very helpful. The profit calculator down here, super, super good energy right there. So we can see, boom, FBA not good, FBM it is good. But a lot of people forget to plug in that FBM cost, right? And they kind of basically screw themselves over or miss products they should buy, right? So very important stuff right there, y'all, and everything.
In your
Oh yes,
sorry, in your settings page, you
yep,
can put a default FBM cost
you
in
can.
there.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So
Yes, yes, very good point. Yep. Yeah.
if you're always doing FBM, you
Yep.
could also default your fulfillment type to FBM. But it would always do FBM with whatever your default cost is.
Very good call on that. Yeah. So that would be local fulfillment, switching it to FBM right there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yep. And just remember, guys, if you're going to do that, you got to make sure to plug in that FBM cost. Otherwise, you're going to drastically inflate your profit numbers. That's the magic of SellerAmp, is shipping's automatically calculated in FBA. And then as long as you put in shipping's counted in FBM too, and you plug that in where it says FBM cost, right? So it's very, very important to have that dialed. Right here is variations is out of beta now, right, Al?
Yes.
Cool,
Yeah.
exactly. So variations here. You can see a variety of different things here. So we can see like ascending, descending based on right here, some different data, right? And remember, you click into these different variations and then it's going to pull up different for them too as well, right? Now notes and tags. So Al, can you talk about how notes and tags would be helpful?
Yeah. So with a note, if you're looking at an ASIN, adding a note in, if you want to ever go back at it and just make a note about that ASIN, say where you saw it, it's like it works and it's like that 10% off, or anything you might want to make a note against it that you might want to see later on. And like with your notes, it's just custom text. Like with a tag is more, if you're going to be doing it, if you're going to be using it like more than once on multiple ASINs, it might be like, yeah, this is good for Q4, or
Yeah.
like this is good if you can buy it with a 10% discount. So with tags, you define those in your in your account page in the tag section, where you can define your own specific tags. And then it's much faster to apply a tag to an item than it is to like write a full note. So if you're going to be doing this, if you find yourself writing the same note over and over again, define a tag. Well, if the note's much more something very specific to the ASIN you're looking at, then use a notes field. And like, so when you go back and look at like ASIN, say in 6 months' time, the note will appear again. Any tags that you've set will appear again.
Yeah, and that's the magic of being a seller for a while is you get to make money on ASINs over and over again or each year during their period of hot demand and everything, which is, super helpful. And literally like looking at those results from, the group from last month, it was literally like average for folks who started in 2025 versus 2024, the 2024 folks did double the revenue. And then the 2023 folks did double the revenue of the 2024 folks and everything. So time in the game is, what really builds skill and longevity and everything here. Now you can apply quick discounts if you want to as well. Down here, you can even pop those to the top as well if you buy from a lot of sites that look like that. Offers here, this is pretty helpful for opening up storefronts to storefront stock here. So like if we just open up a storefront here, this is the best product research method for beginners, where we can just pop up storefronts and see the brands they carry, the categories they carry, right? And all the auto and gate sourcing calls we do, all the YouTube videos you guys watch, right? Those predominantly show storefront stock and by far the best way to source for beginners, where you can just see stuff that sells quick, open it up, identify if it sells quick, open it up, identify if it sells quick, open it up, and then you come to a listing, right? And then you see if it looks good. You take a quick glance at the chart, right? And then you pop it and you search for product title on Google and we see, what makes sense. So for example, this is probably going to end up being a good item, right? We got this hoodie here at 42 and we see it's going for 24 on Gap. And now here we go. So it's at 24. I'm losing 7%, but I got that email sign-up coupon. Boom. I got those discounted gift cards. Boom. And that's the name of the game. Very rarely do you find good OA products. You typically find good OA stuff that sells quick, and then you make it good using the discounts. Now with retail arbitrage, you almost always find stuff good. You almost always find stuff good with retail arbitrage, right? You're rewarded heavily just for going out and scanning. But online arbitrage, you find stuff that sells quick using SellerAmp storefront stalking, right? And then you Google it and you see what websites carry it. And if it's break even pre-coupon codes, you're almost always going to be able to make the numbers work, right? So very helpful. Tafiq, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up, man?
So just a quick feedback. So I I do software on the side and stuff. The there's a small bug that sometimes occurs with the store where the items do repeat. Like I don't know if this is just my account, but they do sometimes repeat where if you like load more, eventually like you'll see the same shoe again. So that's just a quick feedback. It's not a big deal, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, we are aware of that one. It is an Amazon sort of thing where, like, when you're looking at a store, like, we obviously get this from Amazon. It's like when you're looking at a storefront in Amazon, like, if there's a bit of a delay while you're going through the pages, then the sort order, it isn't totally random, but it can bring the same item back again. So we do show it, like you say, it does repeat. Let me do another note of that, 'cause, like, we could, yeah, we should be able to ignore it. Right? As long as it doesn't like repeat an entire page, we'd be okay just knocking out one repeat. So
True.
does that affect you in a way where you start analysing the same thing again without realising you've already analysed
Nah,
it?
you notice it. I don't want to speak for you to speak, but I always just kind of like skip around it basically. It happens occasionally for me as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Tafiq, I mean, I'm all for if anyone else has, has ideas on it, but typically I feel like you kind of notice.
Well,
Yes, sir.
when we get to the end of this, I'll tell you about some of the features that we've got in active development, and one of those features will certainly remove that issue.
Sweet. All right. So really, guys, the vast majority of the time on SellerAmp is either going to be in the mobile app for retail arbitrage, and then for online arbitrage, quick info, charts, and storefront stalking. The vast majority of your time is going to go there in respect to, building an efficient OA operation. But we want to show you all these other features too. So offers is where you open up. So as a proxy, opening up storefront stocking. Now Google Sheets. So Al, do you mind talking about
Actually,
how? Oh yes.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
if you go back to offers for a second,
Yep.
one of these of not so well, it's kind of a hidden feature. Like as you can see, we're showing what the profits would be and the return of investment would be if you matched that price. So one of the nice things with offers is if you see like number one sellers a lot cheaper,
Yep.
and they've obviously got the buy box, but say they've only got a few in stock, so you know they're going to sell out.
Yep.
If you like click on it on the price of any of the other offers in there, that will automatically put that price
Yeah, look at that.
into your profit calculator and then click in. So whenever you see a sale price in SaaS, and like I said, you see sale prices in like the offers, there's other panels that you can show sale prices. So tapping it or clicking it will automatically copy that into the profit calculator. It also works with a cost price. Like if you see something like is a cost price, tapping that will copy it in. If you go back to quick info, like the quick info at the top, you'll see there's a max cost. If you click on max cost, that will then automatically populate the cost price with the max cost. So it's just one of the sort of different little shortcuts just to speed up the process for you.
Yep, 100%. Cool. That I didn't even know about that one. Now Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is really important for organizing leads. Basically you can go in on SellerAmp and you can connect your Google Sheets and just set up different spreadsheets here. And then it one-click exports out the leads. So like if you found an item that you know comes from Target, but it only comes from Target when the buy two, get one free sale is on, you can set up a Target spreadsheet, right? You can set up a Target spreadsheet and then you can, export products to it. And I think it's pretty easy to set it up on the SellerAmp YouTube channel. There's a really good video that goes into setting it up. It just takes a couple minutes to literally just set up Google Sheet right here. Now, one thing I'm actually curious on now, are you able to connect Google Sheets to multiple SellerAmp accounts? Let's say in Google Sheet, I'm not sure. Like for
Yes,
sharing leads with a friend.
yeah. As long as you've got permissions to write to that sheet via the Google account that you've connected your seller account, your SellerAmp account to, you'll be able to export to it. So if there's a bunch of you that use the same sheet, you just need to share it within Google Sheets so you've all got right access. Then your individual Google accounts is what you'd connect to in SellerAmp. Then you could all export to the same sheet. And as we always append, you're not going to be overwriting anything that somebody else is doing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so at very least, you want to have an almost good and an out of stock spreadsheet. Because those are the most common things you're going to organize as items that aren't quite good today, but are good historically, and you wait for them to be good, right? Or to get good, and stuff that is profitable, but it's out of stock on the retailer. And then you just go in once a week, or eventually your virtual assistants go in and check that stuff for you too. So Google Sheets is really helpful. Now look up details. You're not going to do much with this typically, but you can see the history of when you've looked up this item. Buy box analysis, we kind of already went through, but this is really helpful to see who's winning buy box, how often, at what price, and at what fulfillment type. So this is actually super important, guys, to see if an item's FBM friendly or not, and opportunities where the buy box is going above the lowest sellers and who's getting it most recently. So we can see literally in the past 2 hours, guys, the average price in the buy box, and this is over 30 days for that matter, but the buy box, it doesn't always go to the lowest seller. So 41, 39, 44, 45, right? And you can see that it's not always the cheapest seller that gets the sales. There's a lot associated with delivery dates too. So if your FBA inventory is showing today, January 26th, with a delivery date of February 20th, of course you're not going to get buy box. And that's why it's important when you ship inventory into FBA, you price it high, and then once it checks in and shows with good delivery dates, then you move it down, right? So very important there. So anything I miss on buy box analysis, it is a separate thing you got to pop in here in a display or in SaaS panels. Activate. It's very helpful. Also, guys, just a side note, we forgot the pride and joy of an update we added last year, which is going to be SellerAmp QVS, which is free with your SellerAmp subscription, but it is a separate Chrome extension you need to download, which shows some really nice data on the Amazon search page. So I don't recommend Amazon search page sourcing much, but when you know a brand is good, I do like it as a way to see more leads in that brand. And then you can qualify them quick using SellerAmp QVS, which is a completely free Chrome extension. Y'all can go ahead and download at sellerampqvs.com, or sorry, selleramp.com/QVS. And you just have to have a SellerAmp subscription for it to be free, but it's no additional charge. Yep. Cool. All right. And then we do have an integration with the BQL repricer as well. And then we could, one thing actually, this is actually really important. I don't think enough people have this. I would recommend having SellerAmp here. So you can click and put it different places. You could have it small right here. I like having it big on the right side. So that if you want to view Keepa as well, if you guys use Keepa, right, you can scroll it down here too. On that. So that's, I like having it there. I think a lot of you guys default have it there, which is a little small. I want it to follow you up and down as you go to the Amazon products page. Because like if you're analyzing wholesale products to see if they have A+ content, you got to go down there, and it's helpful to have SellerAmp follow you. Right. So I think it defaults to small right here. I like updating it to go and have it big on the right so it follows you up and down. I think is pretty helpful too. Okay, so that's the basics of the Chrome extension. Now, the mobile app for retail arbitrage is the same thing. And then the web app is, how would you describe it, Al? Just laid out where you can see everything in one place?
Yeah, it's making the most of your screen real estate. Like the Chrome extension is great if you're on Amazon or a different like merchant sort of website. But like if you're doing like wholesale, if you're working down from a list, or you want to really analyze the products, I'll look at the details in sort of more depth and just see everything at once. I was just using the web app.
Boom.
And
Cool.
obviously the web app's very good for doing demonstrations.
Sure, 100%. Now I think we pretty much covered everything. Are you good? Did I miss anything? Or are we good to jump into Q&A and more brainstorming and everything here, Al? I think we covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a few more panels, but at this stage, you probably don't need to go through all of them.
Yeah.
No, I think
Cool. All right.
actually, talking about settings and profiles is probably a good one to.
Sure. Okay.
So with your sort of getting serious package, you can have up to 5 profiles. So basically, what a profile is, it's a group of settings. So say if you're doing wholesale, you might go from a wholesale list. You're very often buying in bulk. You're selling more, so your return on investment and your profit you might not need it to be as high. Like if you're doing retail arbitrage, it's much more time intensive, and your stock is often limited. You probably want to be making a higher return on investment and a higher profits. So what you could do, you could create a retail arbitrage profile that might say minimum profit's $5, return on investment's $30. While you could have a wholesale profile, which I'm fine with a profit of $1. I'm fine with a return on investment of like 20%.
Love
so
that.
You could create different profiles depending on like what sort of sourcing you do. Like when I used to sell, I used to buy a lot of end of line from a distributor. So with that, I'd diversify even how I would sell that. Like I'd split it into like 3 groups. Like the first third I'd sell as much as I could fairly cheaply to get some of my sort of cash back. Another third I would save for Q4 because I specialised in toys. So Q4 was obviously very good toy time. So I'd do a third, save it for Q4, which again, I'd be wanting a higher profit margin. And then the last third, as I was buying end of line, I'd wait till all the other sellers sold out, and I'd be the only person with any stock. So I had a warehouse, so I could hold on to it for X years to be able to do this. But then you get a much higher profit and a much higher return on investment. And like we didn't have profiles then, but if you had like doing profiles, it'd be like you'd set up the profile specific to like, okay, I want to do some retail arbitrage at end of line. I want to make a higher profit, high return on investment. Or if you go through like a wholesale list, let's say I would sort of reduce those down. So you could want to change your SAS panels to what makes most sense when you're doing wholesale, what your sourcing method.